Hey, what is up? Welcome to our August 11th show. We are so excited for the things that we are doing today. But as promised, I said I would show you where we are recording our new podcast. Not our new podcast, but the new recording location. Little history on this place right behind me. Growing up, it was a carport. And then my parents changed it into a dance studio for my sister so she could practice dancing. And then my dad opened a record label, and this actually became a recording studio. And now this is also where we record the podcast. It's a lot of fun. And so I'm going to show you around. It's a little messy from moving in, and there's a lot of other things in here as well. But a lot of fun things. I enjoy spending my time here. As you can see, this would be what is the recording studio with the mic and things like that. The computers for editing. Here's all the podcast stuff. Don't forget, we do have Press On Podcast mugs if you're interested. And then this obviously is where we shoot the show. There's always a Funko Pop in each show. If you didn't notice, I have a large collection of Funko Pops right here that we always make sure there's a different one on the couch each and every week joining us. And so, yeah, this is where we are recording. A lot of fun, a lot of computers being in, but just a fun area that's away from everything, so I can be as loud as I want or as quiet as I want. But I'm just glad that we have a space to do this in. So with that being said, I got to get everything set up, but let's get the show started. Hey, welcome to the 10th episode of the Press On podcast. We promised you August 11th. It's going to be a bigger show. We're excited to party with you today, do some fun things, some things that we do quite often and some things that we've never done before. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm so glad you got to see. If you're watching a video, you got to see where we're recording from and things like that. And if you're on audio only, I encourage you to check out our YouTube and check out our new recording space. It's great, it's comfortable, it's exciting, and so I am glad that we are officially in. I'm excited to get back to more organized episodes. It seems like over the last several weeks, the episodes have been short while we quickly got to the main things, and we'll still get to the main things, but now we can add some more fun elements to the show, and that's always been a pretty important element that I've always wanted, and so we're going to get back to those elements as well. Hey, can I encourage you to check out our Facebook community group? The link is in the show notes or in the description below, and it's just a group of people, and we're trying to get this community where we can have conversations and talk. If we have questions about things, we can discuss. Last week I posted in the group, hey, just introduce yourself and share something about yourself. And so I hope you'll join. I hope you'll invite people to join, and we can get that growing and get conversations started on there as well. Speaking of growing, the only way we can grow this podcast to reach more people, which is our ultimate goal, is from our supporters. And so if you are interested in supporting us, check out our Patreon. That's also linked in the show notes as well. And we just ask that you consider being one of our financial supporters. There's benefits and prizes and things that go along with that. So just check it out, pray about it, and maybe God will lead you to helping us out. But I do want to encourage you, whether you're a financial supporter or just a listener, follow us on all of our social media. So we have our our Facebook group, but we also have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. We have a TikTok page. Follow us on those as well, and you can see any important information coming up. We want to encourage you, if you're watching on YouTube, to do just a couple things for us to help us out. And so if you're watching this video on YouTube right now, real quick, what I need you to do is hit the subscribe button somewhere above us. Hit the like button down below. You don't want the dislike button. You want the like button. And then just comment the word done when you are finished. And that will actually help YouTube's algorithm to make sure our show doesn't get buried, but the chance of more people seeing our show. So please make sure you are doing that. And once you comment the word done, you get entered into a chance to be a subscriber of the week. We want to give you a shout out, and we've been known to mail out prizes from time to time. And so who knows what could happen if you are our subscriber of the week. And our Instagram is growing like crazy. I think we're closing in on, almost 100 followers. And so once we get that, we're going to start playing around with this idea of going on Instagram Live on a certain night and just do question and answers. Maybe we'll have a time of worship and listen to worship music together, and just really informal time of hanging out. Maybe we'll bring other people in on our Instagram Live. And so, but we want to reach 100 followers first. And so if you're not following us, why not? Follow us on Instagram Live. We would love that so much. Hey, I did promise that we would bring back a favorite segment, and I don't know really whose favorite it is. Maybe it's just my favorite, but it is time for improv illustrations. This week I added about 22 new nouns to our improv illustration bucket. So if you're brand new, you've never watched before, we just put nouns in this bucket. I draw one. I encourage you to send in like a sermon illustration, or just relate this word to your Christian walk or just life in general. I do it right here on the spot without thinking. A lot of times it makes no sense, but it's fun. And then I encourage you to do the same. And then once people send those in, we'll share them on the podcast. So record an audio message, or videotape yourself, or even just email us at pressonpod@gmail.com, and we would love to share your improv illustrations. This week's word is building. The word is building, and each and every time we come together, every Wednesday morning, whether you're on the East Coast and you're watching at 7 a.m., or you're in Central America, and not Central America, like the middle of America, Central Time Zone is what I'm thinking of, and you're watching at 6 a.m., or maybe you're in California and you don't get up that early, so you watch later in the day. Each time that we come together, each time you go to church, each time you read your Bible or listen to worship music, you should be thinking of this as a way that you are building your faith. And when a building goes up, when construction happens, it doesn't happen all at once. It takes time. And you need the right tools. You need to pour a lot of effort into it. And the same thing goes into our faith. When we're building our faith, you need the right tools. You need the right crew around you. You need to put a lot of effort into it. It's not going to happen on its own, but it's going to happen. And now we'll never get to the end goal. We'll never see a completely finished building until one day we are with God. But each and every day, that's what we encourage you to do every week, is to press on and keep building. No matter when you have setbacks, no matter when the foundation becomes cracked and you have to repair it, we encourage you to press on and keep building. So that's this week's word, building. Send in your improv illustrations. We would love to hear what you come up with the word building. Don't forget to email us at pressonpod@gmail.com. Hey, this week we want to start a brand new segment. This segment stems off of something I like to do, and I just want to take you guys along with me and maybe encourage you guys to do it as well. And I am calling this Catching Cashes. No, we're not talking about actual money. What I'm talking about is geocaching. Now, if you've never heard about geocaching, it's just pretty much a worldwide scavenger hunt. There's an app on your phone, and you use your GPS and you locate these geocaches, and then you try to find them. It's a lot of fun. There's some, I guarantee you, wherever you're listening to, there are geocaches around you. They're just everywhere. Everywhere you can think of, even in small town Oklahoma, I guarantee there are geocaches there. So no matter where you're at in the United States, I know where I'm at right now, there's quite a few, and it's been several years since I've gone geocaching here, and so I'm excited to look around and see what is there. And I want to take you along on these geocaching adventures. Sometimes they'll be on the Patreon, so only our Patreon supporters will see them. Maybe you'll see clips on our Instagram or our TikTok. But today I want to take you along, and maybe we'll find a geocache. So let's go catch those caches. All right, well, we're headed out to go geocaching, so let's get in the car and go find this cache. All right, so we can see that it's only 1.1 miles away, so not too far. Let's get there. So we're getting close to the geocache. Like I said, it wasn't a very far drive. It's actually on the local college campus, and so luckily it's after 4 and people can park wherever they want after 4 o'clock. So we're gearing up to find this geocache, and we know that the hint says, and the years keep on rolling. So that's all we really know about this geocache. So let's find out. Make sure, I just forgot, but make sure you bring a pen with you when you find a geocache, and I'll show you why when we get to the location. So we've made it to the center of campus, and I'm guessing that it's going to be somewhere in here, and I will show you why I think that. There's this plaque that says gift of the classes 97, 98, 99. So I wonder if the geocache is somewhere up. Look at that. This one did not take long to find. Now you might be wondering why it's this. Hang on and I'll show you. So some geocaches are big, some are small. This would be a small one, probably considered a micro. But the top actually unscrews, and inside you can actually see there's a piece of paper rolled up, and that is a signature log where you can sign it. So that's why I said you should probably bring a pen with you. That way you can write your name on it and people can know that you found it on this date. I want to sign each one and just say, press on. Keep finding more and more geocaches. I think that'll be fun to do. And you always want to place it right back where you found it. Make it a little bit more tough by hiding it in a different spot. Guys, geocaching is fun. It's getting outdoors. I've always thought it'd be fun to get a backpack filled with cold waters and snacks and bug spray and gloves, and make sure I had boots and long pants and sunscreen, and just spend a whole Saturday geocaching to see how many I could find. And who knows, maybe one day I will do that. But it's a great activity. Anybody can do it. It's a good family outing. It's fun to do on vacation when you're in a new location. You find new places, and then on the geocache app you always earn badges for each new state that you find geocaches in, and there's other little rewards you can find as well. And so geocaching is fun. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the very first ever catching caches. Maybe we'll do this again. Maybe I'll record some more caches for you guys. But right now we got to get back to the studio so we can continue this show. Oh, man, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me with that. I hope you enjoyed your time as much as I did looking for those geocaches. Hey, before we dive in today, I want to remind you that the last 3 weeks I have hidden passwords in each one of our podcasts. So don't forget, the first person to message me starting today with the 3 passwords will get a great prize from us. We'll send that directly to you. So message me on Facebook, email me at pressonpod@gmail.com. If you have my phone number, text me. But what is the 3 passwords that I've given over the last 3 weeks? It doesn't seem like that, right? 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, we started this competition, and here we are. Let's see what passwords you can remember. Hey, can you believe 10 episodes? 10 episodes down. I did some research, and most podcasts don't last this long because people get burnt out. People give up, time constraints. I'm thankful that we have lasted this long. I'm encouraged that we're going to keep going, and we can't do it without you guys. So thank you for being supporters. 10 episodes. We've done a lot in 10 episodes. We've smashed fruit. We've smashed eggs. We had an animator on the show. We've studied through a book of the Bible. We've learned how to study the Bible. Just a lot of fun things, and we have a lot more fun things planned for the future. So don't give up on us. Keep joining us each and every week. We promise it'll be worth it as we come together each and every Wednesday morning. Hey, as we were geocaching, I was thinking about this idea, though, just about GPS and knowing where we're going. It would be really hard to go geocaching without a GPS, right? Because you wouldn't know which direction to go. You wouldn't know how to find what you're looking for. And so that is the GPS's job, is to guide us, to direct us to the right location. And I really just want to ask ourselves, as we're coming to this 10th episode podcast, where is God leading this podcast? I know God's not done with this podcast. I can't tell you how encouraged I get when somebody comments and says, I love this podcast, or thank you for sharing today. So really we want to be open to where God is leading, because if we ignored that, we would be lost. And really not so much just the podcast, but you as a person, me as a person, you have to ask this question: where is God leading me? It is really easy for us to think we know where God wants us. To say, oh, everything's falling into place in this area of my life, or I really want to do this, and so I'm going to make it happen. But can I encourage you to take a step back, to slow down, and really ask that question: where is God leading me? I'm not saying that he doesn't open doors. He absolutely opens doors and allows things to fall in place to the places he leads us to. A friend of mine calls it him orchestrating everything for the right purposes. But a lot of times we leave him out of the equation when it's something we want to do, or where we don't want him to interfere because we're comfortable where we're at. So can I encourage you just to ask that question: where is God leading you? And there's so many scriptures about that very topic. And so I encourage you this week to find some. I'm going to share some of my favorites today in the Facebook community group. So be looking for that about God's leading. But yeah, just ask that question. Well, the question has been asked: what are we going to do now? We finished the book of Galatians a couple weeks ago. What's next? What book are we going to be reading next? And I will tell you, we are going to be looking at one of my favorite books of the Bible, the book of James. And the reason I love this book is there's so much in it. There is so much in just 5 chapters that that I don't know if we're going to get through it all in 5 weeks. It might take more than 5 weeks just to get through this book, but that's okay with me. I love the book of James. Can I share a fun story? In college, my preaching class, we were instructed to write a whole sermon series. Now, we didn't have to write each sermon in the sermon series, but we had to come up with a title for the sermon series, what book of the Bible it was through, how it all related, and the title of each sermon, and what passages we were covering, how many weeks long was it going to be. And I chose the book of James. And I called this series Going the Distance because there's a song in Hercules, and I'm not a singer, but Hercules sings this: I will find my way, and I can go the distance. I will be there someday. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. I will go almost anywhere to feel like I belong. And in that song, Hercules is looking for the place he belongs. And when I think about our faith, we know that we belong with our Heavenly Father. We know that we do not belong here. This is not our home. This is our temporary home. And one day we will be where we belong. And really, the book of James is just how we do that while we're here. How do we go the distance? How do we figure out this temporary life to set us up so one day we will find where we belong? And every chapter of this book answers that question. And so I'm excited over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. I don't know how long. I'm excited over the next several weeks. We are going to learn how we can go the distance, how we can be in this temporary home together, and the things that we can do to make our time here worthwhile. Now, we're not really going to dive too much into the book of James today, because we want to give you a week to read chapter 1, but I do want to take a look at one thing. Now, who wrote the book of James? Most people believe that the book of James is written by Jesus' brother, James. And so when we look at that, that is significant for many reasons. Number one, can you imagine what it's like to grow up with Jesus as your brother? Probably not the easiest thing. In fact, in John chapter 7, verse 5, it is written that even Jesus' brothers, his own brothers, did not believe in him. Even the people that he had surrounded himself with, that was born into the same family he was born, did not believe in him. And that would be tough to believe that your brother was the Son of God. There's probably some sibling rivalry there. But when we open the book of James, verse 1, chapter 1, it says this: James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. Those are the first words he writes. He is now a servant of Jesus. So what changes between John chapter 7 and James chapter 1? Well, you look at the events that all happened, and there's only one thing that really can answer this question, it's that the resurrection happened. Jesus died, and 3 days later he was rose again. And I think the resurrection changes everything. It shows us who Jesus was, and that he was always who he said he was going to be, and it gives us hope that he's always going to be who he says he will be. And I think it changed for James as well. The resurrection truly does change everything. It changes your mindset, and it gives you hope for the future. And so this week, as you dive into chapter 1 of James, as you live your life and you ask this question, where is God leading me? Remember that the resurrection changes everything. And because it changes everything, we have hope to step into an unknown future. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be scary. But because of the resurrection, we can do one thing, and we encourage you to do that one thing each and every week. And that one thing is to press on. We can't wait to see you next week as we dive in to chapter 1 of James. Until then, adios.